Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the upper tier. It's Thursday, which means one thing Thursday tier talk. My brother in arms is there beside me on the screen. Dazzler, how are we, my man?
I'm all good, pal. I am all good, thank God.
Tickety boo, tickety boo. Well, we have a full show tonight. Premier League is back. Don't know whether I'm excited or distraught, to be honest. But the Premier League is back anyway. We have a Premier League preview for you. We'll be talking about all the latest news headlines, including, I would say, an adult chat, I would say, in relation to one Mason Greenwood. And we'll also be doing Beat the Bookie, where we give you our picks and tips for the weekend. Another tough week to earn a few, Bob, but I'm sure we picked out a few good ones.
Don't know, Niall. I think I've got a couple of good bets for us tonight.
Good. Glad to hear it. Joining us in the chat tonight, we have Morris from Cheap Heat Productions Podcast, of course, friend of the show, Gilner and all. Smash a like. Let's see them mounting up. And Ian is in the comments as well from the Chelsea Roar, and my partner on Dynamo's Dozen, our pro wrestling podcast that we do every week. Just dropped a review of the Royal Rumble there last night. Make sure you go over and check it out and subscribe to it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification. Absolutely. And the man, the legend from Wexford, Mr. Wexford himself. The legends are in the house. I'm here with my tea and corned beef sambos, waiting for this tea and corned beef sandwiches. The man's a hero. Any sauce, Kyle? Any sauce on the corned beef sandwich? There has to be a little bit of brown sauce on that, or it doesn't work. It doesn't work without the brown sauce, the corned beef sambos.
I won't lie. I just got sick of me mouth. Oh my God.
It's a sunny southeast thing, is it?
I feel like I've been fucking violated. My God. Oh, even the sight of it. Oh,
he's cracking open a satty and having some meanies. There's a combination for you. And Kyle's back in mayo on the corned beef sandwich.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
And Dave's back again, absolutely. Dave back with our Thursday show. Dave was in the chat earlier on the Shankly Sessions. I did a preview for the Wolves versus Liverpool game, and then Dave had Darren. Don't know if you've seen it. Dave had Andy Cantwell on. You know, the guy who does the TikTok videos, the Martin Tyler ones, and all those voiceover ones.
I don't have TikTok. You see,
if you check it out on Twitter and stuff like that, he does the.
I don't have Twitter either.
Darren, you're slipping.
I know.
Yeah, I'll send you on a few links later. And
you send me a couple of links, will you?
Yeah, so check out Dave's channel as well, LFC Chats, cracking channel, stuff like that for our scenes. And Kyle's back in. Dazzler, I say you got sick the other day when Eddie hit the back of the net too.
That was rage rather than nothing else. Kyle.
I tell you, and then I am in a nice little field in Coolock with my laptop, a 6-pack of Dutch and a snack box. Life is good. Happy days. Cheapy, a customer in my old job used to get a roll with coleslaw, cheese, beetroot, and mustard on it. No meat, Morris. No meat at all. Dave is back.
There's some sick puppies in this world.
Absolutely. Right. And Ian's in the comments as well. Ian was in with me the other day. We had a bit of crack. Someone just disappeared off the screen there. I don't know what happened, but he's after disappearing. Ian, what's the crack? All good. Watching on the flat screen. Love it, Ian, on the big screen as always. Let me know if you want any shout outs, Ian, or if you want me to tell the kids to go to bed or anything like that. We'll get it sorted for you. But we're gonna crack on with a Premier League preview just as soon as Dazzler rejoins us. He was moving around there. I don't know what was going on. We'll hunt him down. Oh, here he is. He's back again. Where did you go off to? Did you sneak off to get a corned beef sandwich with mayo or what?
Oh yeah, that's exactly where I went. I was in the queue behind Kyle. No, I moved from where I was because the signal didn't seem to be very good. We live in the White House here, you know yourself, it's quite big. So if you sit too far away from the router, the signal just goes a bit winky wonky. So I've come downstairs into the parlour just to get a bit of better signal so everyone can hear me nice and clear because I've loads to say tonight, don't forget.
The corned beef with the mayo is only the tip of the iceberg. Here's another one for you. Morris gave us one earlier. Customer in his job used to come in with a roll. Coleslaw, cheese, beetroot, and mustard only. That's rough, innit? And Kyle, here's one for you now. You'll have an opinion on this. For my breakfast, I have cornflakes with orange juice over them, as I hate milk. Cornflakes with orange juice.
The only thing I can say about Kyle is I wouldn't like to be in the jacks after him. Jesus Christ, man. That is grim.
Is this a field or football show? Love it.
Well, actually, we've discussed that in the past.
To be honest, Morris, you should know better looking at the size of the two of us. We didn't get this big by just talking about football now, did we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
I was talking to them in the chat earlier as well when I was doing the Shankly sessions, and we were saying that we might arrange a match for the summer, get everyone together and go for a bite, eating a few beers after, do some sort of a charity match or something like that. So we get the boys off the Arsenal podcast and stuff like that up against an old upper tier 11, let's say, and have a bit of crack, yeah.
The Arsenal boys won't know how to play football. Let's be honest. They'll all be about hugging in the dressing room and all the fucking good stuff, you know, that Mikel Arteta's bringing into the club. Okay, today we're going to hold the light bulb. It's the energy from everybody in this room, and at the end, I am going to take this light bulb and shove it up my hole.
At the end of the day, they'll be the nothing in the all or nothing, will they?
Listen, I won't lie, and you know, I'm a big fan of Mikel Arteta, so I won't knock him. I'm only having a bit of banter, sure.
It's Daz O'Clock, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, my good fella? Asking you that. I had Warren on the chat earlier as well, and he was making the point. You won't believe this. He made the point that you should be doing your own channel as well. And I said, but sure, this is part of his channel.
This sure is, yeah.
You know, I told him about us being self-employed and stuff like that, and the time constraints that we're lucky to get done what we get done.
And does Warren know I'm technologically challenged as well? I can just about plug the earphones into the iPad. So
me and your brother are challenged in many ways.
Yeah.
Other than being a food show. So welcome to the Gordon Ramsay hour, and we're going to cover a little bit of football as well at some stage. And they will try and walk it in. Cheapy, can't wait to boss Del Boy around. Walk it in. And Acers is back in as well. Gave us the news earlier. Leap and Lanny Poffo passed away this evening. R.I.P. Lanny Poffo, Macho Man's brother. Very sad news at 68 years of age. Acers, let's talk about. Oh, we can't be going there now. That's not the way to go at all. Acers, you have to rethink those thoughts. But let's start.
We know all about Acers though, because I mean, Acers is a proper keyboard warrior, isn't he? Likes to hide behind an anonymous name and all that. Acers, we've all got cameras, pal. You're more than welcome to stick the camera on and come on if you want. But something tells me you don't have the balls for that. But there you go.
There you go. Let's start with this Premier League preview anyway. So we start off tomorrow night. We've got a festival of football this weekend, Friday right through till Sunday. And we start with Chelsea versus Fulham.
Yeah, I may have Chelsea in a couple of my beat the bookie bets later on, which might surprise a few people. But yeah, I think obviously now the window is closed. A lot of the hype and the hysteria is gonna die down around Chelsea, and it's now just going to be down to Graham Potter trying to get, you know, the best out of that squad that he can, type thing. And I mean, if you look at it, we know he's got a serious squad, and we know he's got an unbelievable amount of players at his disposal. A guy like Potter should be able to get a tune out of this at this stage.
Yeah, I would have thought so. What you thinking on it then?
I'll reveal one of my bets from later. So we went for Chelsea and both to score. So I'll stick to that, and I'll go 3-1 Chelsea.
Okay, yep, sounds good. I was thinking it might be a little bit tighter, only because it might take a bit of time, depending on how many changes he makes with the players.
To gel, absolutely.
It might be a good time for Fulham in there, so I don't think there might be something in it for them. But I think,
and don't forget, they got something a couple of weeks ago, didn't they, Fulham? So you know, yeah, it won't be a foregone conclusion at all.
Everton versus Arsenal.
Everton versus Arsenal. Yeah,
any Sean Dyche bounce here? No,
I don't think so. I just feel so bad for him after, you know, obviously signing up to try and get them out of the hole, and then the lads decide to take the fucking shovels away and do nothing for him in the transfer window. He was bad enough having to take over that Everton squad, but when you sell Anthony Gordon, you get money in on your hip, and you're not allowed to spend it, or you get knocked back by so many players. Like it's not going to be easy for them at all. They have enough to get out of it, but it's going to take something special from them. It really is.
Yeah, Mount versus Willian. Can't wait. 10th best team versus 7th. Ian reckons 3-0 to the Chelsea. And Acers, I think the board will give Harry Potter 5 games or P45. I think it'd be longer than that. I'd be very surprised. Morris back in. The Deutsch effect, you never know. He will keep them up. Morris, don't water down. Don't water down your title credentials to Sean Deutsch. Yeah. What did you say you're going for here? Or did you give me a score? No.
I didn't. I'll actually go with the same as the first one. I'll go 3-1 Arsenal.
3-1. Aston Villa versus Leicester.
Yeah, there's only one winner for me here. I have to be honest. I think Leicester have picked up Villa have picked up the performances a little bit under Emery, and he's starting to get the kind of tune he's looking. They've obviously had a little bit of time off because they weren't involved in any of the cup competitions, and I think he'll have done more good work with that Villa squad. They called the boy Bertrand Traore back from his loan at Başak Şehir in Turkey, so he's obviously looking to try and balance out that forward line with somebody that can play on the right hand side because a little light on that side. And I expect Villa to get over the line here. I think I'll go. Sure, listen, we'll go with the hat trick. Let's go 3-1 Villa.
Tell you, if these come in, there's going to be big bucks in this. I want you as well, just later on in the show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to give me your picks again now that the transfer window's closed. Give me your thoughts on the title, top 4, top 6, say, and the 3 that are going to be relegated. So just have a think about it as the show goes on. I didn't want to spring it on you, but I'm sure based on the transfer window and various other things, we may have changed our mind.
Yeah, maybe so.
Or maybe not. We shall see. Brentford versus Southampton.
Yeah, I think Southampton has obviously picked up their performances massively in the last few weeks with Nathan Jones and brought in a couple of great signings. Sorry, Niall, hang on. Look at this for service. You ready? The Jameson ginger ale and lime has just been put on the table. The waitress, I won't lie, the waitress looks pretty good as well, if I'm honest. The mother-in-law's blessing me in the corner.
Love it.
It's okay, Granny, you're live on YouTube, don't worry.
Pull up a C.
Give us your thoughts on Brentford and Southampton. Yeah, I suppose a couple of good signings for Southampton. Very close to the end of the window there. Brought a couple of lads in to try and bolster that front line. I don't necessarily think they'll be able to get things going as quickly as Saturday, but I think it might be enough to see them over the line in the relegation battle. I think Southampton will probably be okay this season. I think they've enough there, and I think you've obviously got James Ward-Prowse at the helm of that ship, trying to steer them through it. He's kind of like the modern day Matt Letizia, isn't he? He's only been there and he pulls out all the stops to kind of keep Southampton where they need to be in that Premier League and stuff. I think he's a great little player, I must say. I think on Saturday though it's going to be a tough game. I think Brentford 2-1.
Cool. Coyle back in the comments here. I think it's going to be a tricky game. 2-1 Arsenal. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I've gone 3-1 Arsenal, so I think it's probably going to be tricky, but there might be a little bit of gloss near the end.
Yeah, and Acers is back in. He's going for Villa against Leicester.
Absolutely.
And Morris is in. Emery to continue the run. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Ian's back in. Is Acers not a laptop brand? It is, yeah. Acer, yeah. Talking pony. Potter going nowhere. Drinking in, man. 3-1 Villa for me for and he's going with Brentford 2-1. And Morris is back again. Are you in Hooters, Darren?
Not yet. I might be under Morris, you never know.
And then Ian is, as always, it's Ian the Machine Gun Kelly. Subscribe to Dynamo's Dozen and never forget the talc. There's a man who's been watching the podcast.
Sure is.
I think Kelly will be doing a Benoit after Chelsea playing Europa League next season.
Jesus Christ.
let that tumbleweed settle there for a minute. Let's talk Brighton
What does
versus
it take for us to start banning people in here? By the way, I'm just throwing it out for a friend.
We're a nice community in here.
We sure are. We're welcoming, let's say, welcoming.
Initially, anyway.
yeah. Until you get to know us.
I'll have to discuss it with our moderators.
Yeah, Brighton and Bournemouth. Listen, Brighton have been on a great run lately. Unfortunately, and when I say unfortunately, I mean because obviously everybody knows about myself and Morris. We've a little bet going on at the minute. Morris has Brighton and I have Forest. And it was from a certain point in the after so many games, we're pretty close for points since then, if I'm right. So there's not lots in it. Would I love to see Brighton drop points against Bournemouth? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. I think this has Brighton written all over it. Again, I'm a bit surprised Brighton didn't dip their toe a little more into the market, obviously with the Trossard money and stuff like that. Now I know the boy Mitoma has come in and has played unbelievably well, and the lad Evan Ferguson has been promoted to the first team, and he started to score and create chances and assists and stuff like that. So they're not short anywhere, Brighton, but I think I would have liked to see them maybe just give De Zerbi a little bit of money for what he's doing there at the minute,
Yeah, even a bit of bench padding or something like that. Because I mean, if they
just a little bit,
injuries, they could be in trouble.
Yeah, just a little bit. I think Bournemouth, I have to say, Bournemouth had a great window, had a really, really good window. Were able to get a couple of good players in there, and that should give them an opportunity to stay up. Now, do I think they will? I think they'll be very close. I actually think the relegation fight is going to go right down to the wire. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there was 3 or 4 teams in the shake-up going into the last day of the season and stuff like that. And with that said, I think Bournemouth are probably in with a shout of staying in the league with the business they've done and stuff like that.
Yeah, I reckon De Zerbi, maybe the talk on the street is maybe that the January window is a difficult window to do business. Apparently, obviously not. that myth was dispelled this January, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't, because let's not forget. A lot of the moves that happened, and especially when we talk about some of the ones at Chelsea and stuff like that, they were big moves. They were moves that you would have got them out in the summer for the same type of freight. So it's typically it's a difficult window to do business in. But Chelsea went all guns blazing in there and said we can't wait till the summer, so we got to go now. And they put their foot to the pedal and went with the machine gun splattering and hope they hit a few targets, which we'll see how it goes in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Man United versus Palace. Before you give me your thoughts on this, first of all, congratulations, I have to say, on getting to the Carabao Cup final. But I did like, it was good to see Jadon Sancho back on the pitch, I have to say.
Sure was.
And I'm not a Man United fan either, but that was a nice moment as well at the end of the game between him and Cooper. I thought it was really cool that Cooper went over, kind of checking in on his old boy, that way. So it was pretty cool to see that as well.
Yeah, and actually it's something I noticed because I was watching it. Obviously. I got in just towards the beginning of the second half, and you're watching it, and obviously then he comes on, and you're thinking, wow, this is great, and the crowd gave him a great reception, and you're just hoping that he gets a couple of nice touches and is able to start building the confidence and stuff. And obviously he didn't do too badly when he came on. Ten Hag gave him the free roll at 10 rather than having to track back or tuck in or anything like that. He said, listen, go on and just get a touch of the ball and get a feel for it and get the atmosphere, feel the atmosphere and stuff like that. So I think he did well when he came on, but I did think it was a lovely moment with Cooper. And I suppose that's the other side of football as well, and there was a nice vibe to what happened. And big shout out to Cooper, obviously, for that. It was a nice touch, especially after he'd been drubbed in over the 2 legs. It would have been easy to be kind of ratty after going out and stuff like that, but he wasn't. I kind of feel like he's a really good character, and I think he likes to do things the right way, and you have to appreciate a guy like that.
Yeah, he just seems like a genuine, nice human being, really, doesn't he? Really, when you listen to him and stuff like that, Now I'm sure if you didn't do what he wanted, he could tear you up like paint stripper as well if he had to. But like
especially when I think he's a really nice guy, especially when you consider how ugly he is. Like, my God, when you make Ed Sheeran look like fucking Claudia Schiffer, like, you're an ugly man, and he really is ugly, God bless him. But anyway, we'll move on.
Yeah, that's years of football and hardship. That's what it does to you.
Oh, man alive.
So Man United Palace.
Yeah, looking forward to this because I kind of feel like we let Palace off the hook a couple of weeks ago at Selhurst Park. We obviously went the goal up in the first half, got to half time, and in the second half we just coasted. There was no press, there was no foot in the accelerator, nothing like that. Now, it was at a time where Weghorst was coming in to make his debut and stuff like that, and we were probably a little bit short in some areas. I think this weekend's going to be very, very different. I think they'll have in their head they want to go out and do a job against Palace after what happened at Selhurst Park. So I'm going to go United here, and I'm actually going to go by quite a few. I think I'm going to go 3-0.
3-0. Interesting. Ian back in the comments as well. Bournemouth have made it very interesting with their signings at the bottom. Absolutely. That bottom is interesting. And Ian's back in. Morris on the chat. Get in there, fella. And Morris is back. The run in at the bottom is going to be class. Normally there's one team dead and buried by now. Yeah, absolutely. Ian's gone with United 3-0 as well. And Acers is back in. United are going to be totally bollocks this month. And Newcastle will beat them in Wembley.
There you go.
There you go.
And in fairness, he's been right with pretty much everything he's tried to get so far, hasn't he?
No. I'm going to let you take this one because obviously I did a preview on it earlier. Wolves versus Liverpool.
Yeah, I kind of when I looked at I was looking to do a bet, obviously, And I said to myself, I was looking down the list, and get to Wolves, Liverpool, and I'm like, I think Wolves are 3-1.
Yeah, they're win. Just short. They're 14-5 just to win, yeah.
And I was like, really? Like, they've obviously were unlucky at Anfield. They go back in Beaches then they go back in Beaches in the next leg? The Beaches in the return now? Or did you get them?
No, we bet them in the replay 1-0. Remember, Harvey Elliott scored a goal 13
Sorry,
minutes.
you're right. And then Brighton forced you out.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
No bother. And I kind of thought, like, Wolves, obviously, in some decent form under Julian Lopetegui, and Liverpool in some not so very good form, and losing the body count by the day. I'm even wondering at this stage how many are turning up for training on a day-to-day basis. How many players have you got around the place? Could you borrow a couple of players from Chelsea on the basis that they've got too many to fit in their bench? Their bench is going to look like the great. Their bench is going to look like the Great Wall of China at this stage. I
sent Ian a graphic in our WhatsApp group earlier of all the backup for Chelsea and stuff like that. And I said, will you send us over a couple of those number 2s and 3s? We gladly take them and stuff like that. Yeah.
Very short. Very short.
If we were that short, could we get a game cancelled? They used to do this, didn't they, during the pandemic? We get a few games called off or something, just to delay it for a while till we get a few players back.
I don't know. But I don't see it ending well, if I'm honest, because I just think every game, this might sound quite obvious, but every game we go is one less that you can kind of claw it back at the end. You know what I mean? And it's going to be tough for Liverpool. It really is, unless they start getting bodies back pretty quickly. I'm going to go draw here. I think score draw. I think you'll score, but I think Wolves will score. I don't think anything will separate us. So I'm going to go with 1-1.
I'm going to go with what I did on the preview, a 2-1 win to Liverpool.
Okay.
And I preface that by saying we need to score first. And I gave out a little bet on the preview as well. Liverpool to win 2-1 and Darwin Núñez to score first is 25-1.
Captain Chaos himself.
Yeah, absolutely. But we shall see.
I appreciate a guy like Darwin Núñez because I'm a little bit chaotic at times myself, so he's right up my street. I won't lie.
Newcastle versus West Ham. Before you get into this one, I don't know. Did you see Dan Burns' post match after the Carabao Cup?
The dance?
No, the one where he did the Gascoigne. I'm off to get measured for me Sue. Did you not
I
see that?
didn't say it. No,
It's
I didn't say it.
classic, man. It's classic. Check it out after the show. It is quality. Yeah, really good. And
It's been a pretty busy week this week in the old tennis fronts. I won't lie. So I haven't
yeah,
seen. There's lots of stuff
yeah.
I haven't seen.
Yeah, there was one guy out there on social media, and he clipped it. He put the Gascoigne one at the bottom and Dan Bourne at the top, and it was so. And he interrupted one of the other players. He says, "I'm off now to get me suit," and it was so cool. It was deadly, real throwback, like so fun. Looks like they're having a lot of fun at the moment already. How up there, doing
Yeah, and
well.
like he looks like, I gotta say, the boy Dan Bourne looks like a great character to have in your dressing room, doesn't he? Just puts him out there, puts himself out there. He's gonna go out and enjoy himself, put himself on the line for that jersey, and just do everything he can to make sure that those black and white stripes get a win week to week. Looks like a real good guy, I have to say.
Yeah, I'd say he's one of those locker room guys as well. You wouldn't want to leave your bag lying around or something like that. There'd be
Yeah,
pure mischief in him, I'd say. And of course, what are you going to say to him? The guy's a monster as
a
well. The
monster.
size of him.
Although he's a monster, it doesn't strike me that he could fight his way out of a paper bag. I won't lie, because I just think he's too nice and too happy and too cheerful a guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the scary thing, though. If you pushed him hard enough, you'd have a problem.
Probably.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
yeah, listen, I think West Ham obviously again will have been happy with the little rest that they got. Obviously with no Carabao Cup games, they did an FA Cup game that they got through against Derby, and they've got a visit to Old Trafford in the next round for their efforts. I think Newcastle will be on a massive high after this. I really do, after reaching the Carabao Cup final. I think the good times are slowly returning to St James's Park. I think obviously they've brought in a couple of signings, a couple of young English players to play down that right-hand side. The boy Harrison Ashby, who actually left West Ham to head to Newcastle, and then also Anthony Gordon. Again, I think they're building this squad really, really well. If you look across that front line now, you got guys like Miguel Amaron, you've got Alan St. Maximin, you've got Anthony Gordon, you've got Callum Wilson, Alexander Isak, lots of good footballers. They're tidy in midfield, they're tight at the back. Like, I think West Ham they'll give them a game, but I don't think in the end it'll be too reflective in the scoreline. And sure, listen, while we're going at it, let's go Newcastle 3-1.
nice. Ian back in, not agreeing with Acer's views tonight at all,
Yeah.
similar to a few of us. Acer's back in. United have to play 7 games in 4 weeks. It's tough going, and Newcastle have only 3 games. Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of validity to that. Ian's going 1-1 Newcastle West Ham. Interesting.
Is that out of hope more than anything? Is the hope that Newcastle are the ones, maybe are Newcastle the team Ian thinks Chelsea can catch?
Both myself and Ian are hoping that Newcastle pull a Leicester out of that top 4. Don't know whether that'll happen or not, though. And Cheapy back in Morris. I think Newcastle will be emotionally affected by the Shelby departure. Yeah, probably in a positive way, Morris.
Yeah.
And Gazza's speech was priceless. Yeah, absolutely. It was classic. And Dan Bourne done a number on Saka a few weeks back too. Yeah, absolutely. Forest versus Leeds.
Yeah, it's a game I'm actually looking forward to. I've talked Leeds up quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. I just see them as a team that are really starting to come together nicely under Jesse Marsh. Obviously, they've had a decent window again. They got the boy Wober in at centre back. They've brought in Weston McKennie to play in the middle. And they've brought in the boy Rutter to play up front. They've got Patrick Bamford back. Rodrigo's playing some good football. Nonto, Aronson, Somerville to come back from injury. Like, again, I think Leicester are in a really, really good space for me. I think Forest played quite well, obviously, in the first half last night against United, but just died out a little bit then. You know, you can only do so much chasing until it eventually catches you out. They look like they tired out. It'll be an easier game for them against Leeds. But I don't necessarily see them getting that out of it. And I'm going to go for a bit of a shock here. And I am going to go for a Leeds victory. And I am going to keep my run going. And that is 3-1 to Leeds.
I'm going to go for a Forest win here. I think there might be a bit of an L reaction to going out of the cup. I think Cooper might get the boys to react at home and stuff like that. So I'm going to go for a Forest win 2-1. So I'm going to go for.
You don't like Leeds, Niall, do you?
Wouldn't be mad about them now.
No, because you went against them today against Brentford as well, and they got the draw at Brentford, and they were the better team. So I thought you might have looked at that and said, you know what, Leeds will kick on here, but you've gone with your heart instead of your head. That's okay.
Absolutely.
That's all right. I understand that.
In. Bit of fatigue on Newcastle more so, but yeah, one can have hope. I think probably just being involved mainly in the league. I mean, they can park the Carabao Cup final now.
They're out of the FA Cup. They've no European games. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kyler Navas, 4.5 million in fantasy too. Yeah, and Morris dropping some tips. Don't forget to check out Fantasy Chancer will be out in the morning, game week 22.
I've actually had a huge upturn in form in fantasy football. I don't know if Morris has been keeping abreast of things, but I was languishing very, very low in our league when things kicked off. But I've dragged it back quite well over the last few weeks. Where's our upper tier? So we have 42 in our upper tier group, and I'm up to 21st now. I've just actually gone ahead of Morris by 2 points. I think it's the first time all season I've been ahead of Morris because I had
you're just one off me, are you then? I think am I 19th? I was 19th. I don't know now.
No, you are 25th.
Oh God. You're
behind me.
A few short weeks ago, I was first.
And this is what I'm saying. So this is a marathon, not a sprint. I was miles away when you were leading the table. And like the last day, you scored 41 points. I scored 88. I think I was the third top scorer in the whole league. And things have started to go well again for Dazzler and his boys. But yeah, I must hook up with Morris. Morris, if you're listening, because I know we did an episode of Fancy Chancer earlier in the season. Hit me up over the week and we'll get another one done for next week if you want, and I'll be the guest and reveal my team and whatever, yeah?
Morris says he's the Chelsea of our league, around mid-table.
Jesus.
And Acers is back in. Andy Carroll, horror tackle was for Newcastle, so they could have a chance in the final. And Ian Kelly back in. Ian, I am not even in the league. I am looking for promotion next year.
He's neck and neck with points with Watford at the minute in the championship. He's hoping for a good run in that might get him a playoff place. Is that right?
Position. Yeah, come up. Yeah, absolutely. Let's round it out then. The Super Sunday, Tottenham versus Man City. At this stage, Arsenal could be 8 points ahead.
Yeah, Spurs have done a bit of a number on City of late. And really put them to the sword in quite a few games. And this is something that kind of came into my head. But I think City have had some sort of a breakthrough, or Pep has had some sort of a breakthrough, because for a couple of weeks, things were looking a little bit grim at City. Obviously, they had a couple of stumbles. And they did a defeat at Old Trafford and stuff like that. And then they were down to Spurs, weren't they? In the home game, 2-0 down. Obviously pulled it out of the bag and won 4-2 in the end. If I'm right, was it 4-2 or was it 5 in the end?
Yeah, 4. Sensational game.
Yeah, and then they went on another run then where the boy Haaland got another hat trick and stuff. I think we're going to see the best of City over the next few weeks, because I think they just were able to press the button very quickly, the reset button, and we're able to get a lot of things moving in the right direction from half-time onwards in that Spurs game. They've been electric. I think the boy Cancelo obviously leaving. I think there's two ways to look at this. Obviously, one is he's a huge loss to City. But two, and this is something where I think, Guardiola will have looked at the changing room and gone, whatever about what he does on the pitch, this guy isn't helping what's going on in the changing room. And his voice is obviously becoming a little bit too much. So I'm going to get this guy out of here and maybe bring back some of the harmony in this changing room and try and get these boys on a roll. So with that said, I'm going to go for Manchester City, but I think Spurs will get on the score sheet. So for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for the 6th time this weekend, I'm going to go 3-1.
This is going to be some accumulator if this comes off.
Tell you what.
What do you make as well? We could see an attacking Tottenham side as well, couldn't we? Because of course, we wish Antonio Conte all the best in his recovery. He's gone in for he had surgery to remove his gallbladder. He has that colitis or something like that. So
that's right, yeah.
He's gone in to have I think he's had the surgery already, and he's on the mend and stuff like that. So I don't know who's going to take charge on the sideline. They've hardly parachuted in Ryan Mason again, have they?
No, it'll be his number 2, but he'll be given the messages. He'll be given the message. That team will go out with his stamp on it. I would imagine even the team talk at halftime, he'll be involved in it. But I did think it was quite apt that Conte had gone in, obviously, for the operation with the colitis, considering he's probably given most Spurs a fucking pain all season. This is some sort of retribution for the Spurs fans and what he's had to go through. Because, I won't lie, just watching an Antonio Conte team play must just be soul-destroying. It has to be absolutely soul-destroying as a fan of that particular club. It's just so difficult and such a strain on supporters. The football is supposed to be our happy place, and football is supposed to be the place where you can forget about life and stuff like that. And then your team takes on Antonio Conte, and you're just thinking, fucking hell, I'd have preferred a dose of cancer. It's just unbelievable. Do you know what I mean?
That's rough, all right. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Well, that's been our Premier League preview anyway. We'll leave that at that and park that now, and we'll go through some news, and then we'll do Beat the Bookie. Morris in the comments. Acers is going for City in that one. And Morris then in the comments, City, Arsenal, February 15th, massive game. Really looking forward to that. And I seem to find myself looking forward to the games that don't include my own team. Tottenham have made the man sick.
Niall, I have a question.
Go on.
Did you see Ryanair in this video?
Did I see Ryanair in this video? No.
When did those bags under my eyes arrive? Fucking hell. Can you zoom back out again, Aran? I look like dog shit. If Hugo Lloris had a look, fucking hell, man.
You've already explained to everyone you've had a tough, hard week.
I've had a tough, hard week, and you know what? My hair, my beard all looks a bit grizzly, but I'm going to get dickied up in the morning. But Jesus, I look like I need a sleep, don't I? Fucking hell.
We should have done Friday tier talk, should we?
Should have done fucking something. My God, maybe I need to turn off the lights in here or something. Christ almighty.
Yeah. Let's have a quick rundown of some of the news articles that have come out.
Only one place to start, Niall.
No, we won't start with that. I think we'll end with that. It could get quite. I might have to control our chat area, depending on what way that goes. But obviously today we're going to see the submission of the Champions League, the European squads, with a number of teams having to kind of leave players out. I think they looked at Chelsea, did they? And they were saying that Potter. Nice headache for Potter to have, isn't it? If he wants to send the 5 that he's leaving out up to Anfield, we gladly take them in, I'd imagine. But 5 Chelsea signings have to be left out, I think, of the squad. That was the news that came out the other day. Again, that's not verified, but I think
5 of the new signings.
Five Chelsea signings have to be left out. So it depends on who you want to leave out or who dropped in.
Jesus Christ, imagine signing for the team and then realizing this is a Barcelona gig all over again, isn't it? Sign for us, we can't register you, but we'll pay you. It's fine.
Acer's too much playing with balls. And Ian, I just got word who Acer is. Come on the show, pal, lads. Would love to chat to you. Interesting. This has been the season-long dilemma, isn't it? The identity of Acers. He's like that. What was that lad on Top Gear you used to call the Stig or the
Stig? Yeah,
the Stig. Yeah, that's it.
I used to call him the ugly bloke because I don't know anyone else who walks around with a fucking helmet on.
Yeah, I remember for years they thought it was Michael Schumacher or something like that. And then they reveal him one time, but it was absolutely. And Cheapy, go on in, name and shame.
Now, hold on, and I want to know this first. Ian, if you got this tip from Ben Jacobs, I'm telling you, we're going to have an issue here. So at least make sure your source was reputable. I want to know who this guy is by the end of the show, Ian. You need to out this.
If it's Ben Jacobs, we've nothing to worry about. The identity will be concealed
forever.
Forever. Yeah. So what do you make of this with these Champions League? I presume United, do they have to do the same in the Europa? I presume you would. You have to submit your squad.
I think well, you've got to do it in the Premier League as well. So I'm making the assumption, yes. Now your homegrown players don't count, and your players under a certain age, players that have come through your academy and stuff like that, don't count. Because actually, before I came on, I was watching Sky Sports News, the Red and Blue channel, and they spoke about Nottingham Forest and how Nottingham Forest had to leave out Lewis O'Brien because they just did a deal to sign Andre Ayew. Andre Ayew was a free transfer. He left his deal in Qatar or Saudi Arabia, wherever he was playing with Camels or whatever. Yeah. And he was available. He's come in, he's signed for Forest, and they've had to leave Lewis O'Brien out of the 25-man squad, which, as a footballer, must be the biggest single kick in the stones you can have. That, you're at a club and you're getting paid and you're training, and come Saturday you can go to the Trafford Centre shopping with your missus because you can't be named in a squad. Like, that is soul destroying. That's right up there with playing for Antonio Conte. Right up there.
Well, considering they've made 30 signings since the summer, he's not on his own. I'm sure there's another 24 lads there in that NFL team that are going to face the same thing. Chelsea have put the new players into the Champions League Squad B, which makes them eligible. Another loophole. That's the age thing. You can have your standboys, as they say. And I told you I put Ben Jacobs in the mud, just like I am about to do with the ace of spoofs.
I like it, Dynamo.
Loophole FC, I love it. Loophole FC. Brighton the other day for the cup game against Liverpool, they refused entry on 150 tickets that were touted, and they didn't gain entry to the game, cracking down on ticket touting. I don't know if you read the article on it and stuff like that. 150 people involved. They charged up to £250 a ticket, and they unearthed this ticket touting ring, and 150 tickets in total were involved.
Right. I didn't see it. I didn't read it. And I think it's strange, Like, somebody bought those tickets, yeah? Maybe they stood in a queue to get tickets. Maybe they had season tickets. Maybe their granny's the canteen lady and, Moise Caicedo gave her 2 tickets. I don't know. However, what people want to do with their tickets should be down to them. And if I have something that somebody else wants and I name my price for it and they're willing to pay the price for it, then that should be what goes down. If somebody was happy paying £200 or £250 for that ticket to go and see Brighton and Liverpool, and they were happy as Larry paying it, what's the big deal?
Yeah, it's a little bit double standards when you see what they do on the hospitality end then, isn't it? Where you go to one of these resellers who has tickets and they package them up a hotel and flights and they charge you 600, 700, 800 quid.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a complete double standard, but don't forget, this is all about the clubs micromanaging and not wanting anyone to be able to, anyone to have any hand act or part in their club without their say so or their knowing. Now, to a degree, I get that, but I think at times you can't control the uncontrollables. So, just let people at it and get on with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got to say, it's just on that. I obviously am a season ticket holder with United, and we have a system now that allows us, if we're not using a particular ticket, we can give our ticket
Friends and
back to the
family.
Manchester. Well, we can give it to a friend or a family member, which is fine. Like my uncle was 60 earlier on in the season, and I gifted him 2 tickets for a game for his birthday.
Nice.
Nice nephew, and on the other hand, you can also give the tickets to the Man United Foundation, and they will give them to kids around Manchester who otherwise might not have the ability to pay for a ticket to a game, which again is a lovely gesture. But if I want to go and see something and someone else has a ticket, and I've done this before, I'm a huge All Blacks rugby fan. And the All Blacks tend to come every 2nd November for the Guinness Series. They come every second year. And my wife bought me 2 tickets for my birthday one year. And I think the face value of the tickets was about 80 quid or 100 quid. So 160 to 200 quid. I think she paid about 4 in the end. She wanted those tickets and she was willing to pay for them. And, she may not have got the opportunity to pay for the tickets if they weren't able to be resold. Now, I really wanted to go and see that game. I would have cancelled Christmas that year to go and see the All Blacks play in the Aviva. And just because I wasn't part of one of the rugby clubs, because the tickets for the rugby don't go on general sale, most of them. A lot of them, especially games like the All Blacks, will just go to, they just give them to the rugby clubs and they give them to the sponsors, and nobody in the public gets them. So you have to then dip into these alternative markets for a ticket. And if that's what you're willing to do, that's what you're willing to do. And it shouldn't be left to other people like that to control the situation, So I've been on both ends of it.
Yeah, Aces found us another report, another Vince McMahon lawsuit, apparently. Should we be shocked? And Morris is in. Experienced massive problems trying to locate an Arsenal ticket at the moment. Touts and travel agents are vulturing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but don't forget, like a team like Arsenal are also one of the most expensive teams in the league to go and watch either way. So, would you call it vulturing? Well, like the likelihood is that the price of the ticket is so expensive anyway that when they put anything onto it, people are going to think it's vulturing. But the fact is, Arsenal, and Morris may not want to hear it, Arsenal are absolutely rimming their fans because of the price of season tickets and their general sale tickets.
And the fact now there's a bit of success there at the moment. They're flying high as well, adds to it as well, I'd imagine. Ian is in as well.
I mean, 3 years ago when Arsenal were shit, the prices were still the most expensive or the second most expensive in the league. So where's the, you know what I mean? Whatever about hiking the price when the team becomes successful because of supply and demand. But after that, I mean, if you're watching a shit football team and you're still spending top whack, that's when people get annoyed. That's when people get frustrated.
You're starting from an elevated level even before they.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, yeah, Ian's in. I agree with Dazzler. Price is set, and if someone is willing to pay for it, then it's fair deal to the parties involved. The open market. And Ian, please watch out for ticket scammers. Absolutely. And Acer Spray Wide is booked for another sponsored match for WrestleMania. You're on the wrong show, Acers. You need to be on Dynamo's dozen. And Cheap Heat Morris back in. Fake tickets is a problem.
I get the feeling Acers only comes in here for me.
Could be
I get that feeling.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't, if I'm right, he doesn't show up on the Shankly sessions or on Dynamo's dozen, does he?
He does, yeah. He does be on the Shankly sessions, all right, yeah.
Does he? Okay.
Dynamo's dozen is a recorded show. It's not live. Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. Might have to start doing some of them live. Morris, tickets are max €100. Seeing them on sale for $1,000, yeah. I think Morris
they are, they're Swiss, €100.
And they were massive. Yeah, massive money.
Most expensive season ticket in the Premier League. Shocking. Especially 3 years ago when you were dog shit.
Well, I suppose if it's €100 a ticket, and what have you got? You've 80, is it 18?
19
home games. That's 1,900 quid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's probably averaging out. That's about right then, is it? What's the ticket? About 2?
I'm not 100% sure. I'll have a look now. I know what I pay for my own, and it's considerably less than that, and I've 2 of them.
Yeah. You've probably
So
two of them nearly for the price of one of theirs, is it? They're probably up around the two, are they?
I've two them for almost half the price of one of theirs.
Yeah.
Which is fairly shocking.
I've no problem dropping €100 for a game.
Absolutely. And I would
easily,
agree with you wholeheartedly, Morris.
I'd be delighted with that if I could find it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Money in the Bank tickets are on general sale in February. This is all getting very revealing here now, isn't it? Like, careful, Acers, you're giving us a lot of hints here. Yeah, Acers, come on, Dynamos doesn't, and we have a chat, or in person, and we can bring Dazzler on for you. Show that face. I'm talking individual match tickets, yeah, absolutely. What else did I want to talk about? What else have I got here? What did you make of it came out Matt Doherty's contract being terminated, moving to Atletico, and it came out that they already, apparently when he got there to do the loan move, they realized that they already had 8 players out on loan, which is the maximum you can have. So in order for him to have to move, they had to terminate his contract and basically get rid of him.
Yeah.
Swift move and swift thinking there, isn't it?
Yeah, but it also goes to show you how badly they wanted him out of town as well, which, you know, there's a couple of ways of looking at that. Was he being difficult, or do they just not rate him? Like, is he behind Jaffa Tanganga, Emerson, and now the boy Pedro Porro? If he's fourth...
Yeah, Porro maybe, but Conte plays him. He plays.
He has played a few games.
Yeah.
Now, again, then you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, well, then is this something that's come from above? Is Daniel Levy saying, you can't play Matt Doherty if he's out of this club because I'm sick of looking at him? But in that sense, we're back to the
was it a mess
thing.
When he got there, did they realise they had 8 players out on loan, and obviously we went, oh, what are we going to do now? Yeah.
Well, I'm sure at that stage there's still an opportunity to decide we'll keep him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it was an interesting one. I wanted to get to the bottom of that one because it seemed here's one for you. Paul Merson had a lot to say about your loan signing Marcel Sabitzer.
I have a very quick answer for this before you even give me any more insight into this, yeah? Because I obviously know what he said. Paul should go and have a long look in the mirror and remember all the alcohol he drank and all the drugs he did, and keep his opinions on Man United, as Will Smith would say, out of his fucking mouth. Because apparently, Paul Merson said the Sabitzer deal was, you know, a panicked deal, and it was a deal that United shouldn't be going near. But apparently, the Jorginho one was a very good deal, and it was a great piece of business on Arsenal's behalf, even though you would say it was reactionary from the fact that they didn't get their hands on the boy Moise Caicedo. Now, and as I look at this, even through my squinted baggy eyes,
spectacles.
no, even as I look at this through my squinted baggy eyes, how much, if I look at Moise Caicedo, yeah, and I look at Jorginho, are there many similarities? So for me, there's very few. They're 2 completely different players. Whereas if I look at Christian Eriksen and I look at Marcel Sabitzer, I can surmise one is a very good replacement for the other, or vice versa, because of the style of player they are. The way they link the defence to the attack, the way they take dead balls, the way they have an eye for a pass, the way they can shoot from distance, the way they've got, you know, a little bit of guile. So you're replacing an apple with an apple. And at Arsenal, they've replaced an orange with a bleeding pork sausage. So I don't get it, Merce. I just don't get it. Kids at home, don't drink, don't do drugs, and don't give shitty opinions like Paul Merson.
But do you know the interesting thing about it is, right? And it's like, I commended United on their quick movement in this, because the day before they found out they were losing Eriksen for 3 or 4 months or whatever it is, and they moved for Sabitzer. And correct me if I'm wrong, was it 2 windows ago you were heavily linked with that boy? I think it was 2 windows ago. You were heavily linked with Sabitzer, and I remember that. So obviously he was on the radar.
It was when it's 18 months ago when he joined Bayern.
Yeah.
He was leaving RB Leipzig. We played against him a couple of times in the Champions League. He done very well against us, as he had in the Champions League and in Germany. And yeah, Merson has just obviously forgotten all of that and decided I'm going in on United heavy here because it's United, and I've got my rose tinted Gunnar glasses on, and Jorginho's going to be the saviour, and you better pray to the Lord, sweet baby Jesus,
that he is.
Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka do not get injured before the end of the season, because if they do and you're left with Jorginho, you can fucking say goodbye to that title.
I'm sitting here as a Liverpool fan thinking, on Tuesday night, I would have loved a panic boy Sabitzer. I would have loved that, and I would have loved people even saying it. It wouldn't have bothered me at all. Where are we in? Acers is having an episode. This is a football show. He's doing his own dynamos, doesn't? Ian, we are thinking it is the way forward incoming. Absolutely, about doing live shows. He was a banger of a player at RB Leipzig. Absolutely. And Morris,
you don't say much that's any use, Acers, but I'll give you that one, pal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jorginho was a separate target because and then he went down late, a bench edition. I don't know.
Yeah, but Jorginho isn't the same kind of player as El Nene does. El Nene's not, a quarterback. He doesn't sit in the pocket. He doesn't pass the ball sideways, receive it, and pass it, receive it. He's an engine. He's up and down, up and down. Jorginho's not that. He might try to break up play, but generally the play will bypass him because he's A, not quick enough. B, he is good with the ball and with his feet. So again, he's a completely different animal than El Nene, because El Nene is really poor with the ball at his feet. That's why he wins it back and passes it to the nearest red jersey in the hope that they can find a player. So, even if you're bringing in, no matter who you're bringing in, you've got to make sure they fit the system you play. Now, if I'm Arsenal and I'm playing Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey, and if one of the boys gets injured and I'm bringing on El Nene there for his legs and his energy levels in that midfield, do I now look at the bench and go, it's okay, Jorginho can bring that? Absolutely not. Not at all. Because he's not that kind of player.
Yeah. Ian's in the comments. He says J5 was shot on before the deal, then all of a sudden it was great business. Sabitzer is quality and absolutely a dead ball specialist. Yeah. Morris, he's a central player. That's the only similarity.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's my point completely, Morris. The boy, and I gotta say it, the boy Caicedo would have been a very, very similar addition to the likes of Xhaka and to the likes of Partey. So he would have been an extremely good replacement, or he would have been somebody that could start and would drop one of the boys down to the bench, because again, he fits the system. Does Jorginho fit the system? Not for me. Not for me.
Yeah, I suppose the worry was they probably aren't convinced that Partey will see out the rest of the season, that he tends to go injured. And by losing him, you're probably losing that bit of steeliness and grit in that middle of the park.
Okay. And I agree with you. But are you going to get that steeliness and grit from Jorginho?
You probably won't get the forward play that Partey gives you, but you'll probably get the sit in there and the breakup of play. You'll see a lot of fouls being given away and the breaking up and the kind of the disruption of the other team.
The fouls being given away, absolutely, because everything bypasses me so slow. But as for the rest of it, it leaves a lot to be desired, if I'm honest. I just think it's, you're measuring apples and oranges and it doesn't work.
Ian reckons too much sexy football being played these days.
Absolutely.
And Morris, you will get more from Jorginho than Lokonga.
See, I don't think you would. I think Lokonga suits the system much better than Jorginho does. Lokonga, okay, he's not the player Jorginho is when he's on the ball, but from a defensive point of view and from a work rate and an energy point of view, he's miles ahead of a Jorginho for me.
And he's not as shit as Dazzler makes out.
He's not. It's not that. It's just, as I said to you, it's the system. like we've replaced a guy that does something with a guy that does something similar. Arsenal have replaced a guy that does something with a guy that does something completely different. So that affects the system. And that's just, there's no getting away from that.
Now, let's round out the show. We said we'd round out the show. You suggested to me today you wanted to discuss this. So before we get into discussing this, I'd like to remind our chat that this is where this part of the show where we talk about this topic requires a lot of adult conversation
and restraint
and we need to be careful how we talk about it, don't we?
Absolutely.
So you're closer to this than me. It's your club, so you kick it off and give me your thoughts and the stuff that we heard today, and that Man United are going to carry out a bit of their own kind of discovery or investigation and stuff like that. And let me know your thoughts. You take it away. I'll control the chat as best I can.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about Mason Greenwood.
I get the feeling maybe there's not going to be, any kind of disciplinary stuff maybe behind the scenes at United over this. I think the consensus is going to be Ten Hag's got to go into that dressing room and he's got to find out what people are thinking and where their heads are at. Like, if this hasn't happened, does Ten Hag want Mason Greenwood in his dressing room? Absolutely. Right? So it happened. Whatever happened. We don't know. We're not privy to what happened. Any of us in this chat is just, we're discussing the possibilities of what happened because we don't know for sure.
We're surmising.
And I made the comparison earlier. I can stand beside a lake with a big fish in my hand and lots of people think I caught it. But that's not to say that's what happened, I could have bought it in Super Value on my way to the lake just to make myself look like Billy Big Bollocks. So there's lots of things. We can sometimes put 2 and 2 together and get 7. And I think from a United point of view, I think Ten Hag's got a lot of work to do on this behind the scenes. And he's got to see where the dressing room is on this. I believe, and this is me personally, I believe that he should be given a chance. I think he's a young lad. I think something happened. I don't know what happened. As I said, I think we're all surmising. I think something happened. I don't know what degree it happened to, but I certainly believe he should be given another chance at his football career. Now, I've heard United fans all day talk about he should never wear the jersey again, this, that, and a brand new hat. Let's not forget, we're a club that had somebody like Eric Cantona playing for us who kung fu kicked a fan sitting in the crowd, and Old Trafford nearly took the roof off when he came back against Liverpool. So if we're going to take the moral high ground on these things, we've already lost the argument, really. And people will say, well, that's different. He didn't do this to anyone and blah, blah, blah. He kung fu kicked the bloke in the front row. And I'm a Cantona fan. He was unbelievable for Man United. But what he did was wrong. But as a club, we accepted what he did, and we accepted his frailties as a footballer and as a person. Now, it's going to be up to Ten Hag. And sorry, when I say we accepted, Alex Ferguson accepted it. And Alex Ferguson was happy, and that dressing room was happy to accept him back into that club. Is that possible for Mason Greenwood? I think it's possible. Is it plausible? I think it's less plausible, but I still think it's possible. I think if Ten Hag wants this guy, and I think if he thinks he can bring something, and we all know the level of ability this kid has, it's off the charts. If this kid hadn't have done something like this, he would be involved 100%. If this had happened in another country, and let's say he was playing for Borussia Dortmund, and this had happened in Dortmund, and he decided he was getting out of Germany, because he wanted to clear his head for a couple of months before he went back or whatever, would United maybe be in the shake-up from? Would Liverpool? Would Chelsea? More than likely we would. We'd say, listen, we'll give him a try. We know the level of ability the kid has. He didn't go on trial for this because of whatever reason. And like, I just don't think we as football fans need to be judge, jury, and executioner in this. I think the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Services, have said he doesn't have a case to answer right now because of because of new evidence and because of a lack of witnesses' testimony. That's a huge statement. So, that's a huge, huge statement. There's a lot obviously happened here, and there's a lot of water gone under the bridge. But do I believe this kid should be allowed to play football again? Absolutely. And I think it's up to Eric Ten Hag then, and then that dressing room, whether they want to be accepting of him. Now, listen, you've got guys like Marcus Rashford in there. We know Marcus Rashford and Mason Greenwood are pals. If Eric Ten Hag goes to Marcus Rashford and says, listen, would you like to have Mason back in the squad? I believe, Marcus Rashford says, yes, he does. But if the general consensus around the squad is that, no, we don't want this guy in here because we're not comfortable with it, I don't think Ten Hag brings him back in. And I think that might upset a few people for a little while, but I think in the long run, maybe it's a better thing. So there's still a lot to dissect here, and there's a lot of discussions to be had around this before we can decide, what's actually going to happen.
Yeah, I think when I looked at it from the outside today, I mean, there's still a lot of questions there that may never get answered. And in some cases, when something like this is released, it creates more questions than what was initially there, which is a real problem. And you'll have some people, you'll have the what if brigade coming in, like what if this or what if that or whatever it is. The club have said they're going to take a deeper look into this, and the outcome of that should be interesting. If it was me looking from the outside in, and if I was a United fan, I would be saying, I don't want to bring anything into the club right now that derails anything that's going so well at the moment. And what I might do is I might take a similar approach to what they did with Jadon Sancho, but obviously in a different kind of way. And maybe he comes back in next season if everything comes out that it was kind of whatever it is. But I'm sure the problem that you're going to have is if the club go and they take a look at it and then they go, not for me, then what message does that send then, you see, in terms of the lad? And it's a
well,
lot
I mean,
that's up there in the
club
air
have,
at the moment, you know?
The club have, the club can look and they can say that he brought the club into disrepute by dragging the club on their name through this muddy water. That's the club can say. And the club, no doubt, will be talking to their legal team at the minute to find out where the land lies. We know there's obviously a contract in place, but what would it take to break that contract? Is there a payoff that has to happen? Do United decide to let him walk free and let him go and sign on somewhere else? Like, don't forget, this kid's an amazing footballer. An amazing footballer. Is that something Manchester United and the Glazers want to give away for free? Because looking at it, if this lad wasn't playing for Man United, let's just say he was playing for, Barcelona, yeah? And let's say the performances he'd put in for United, he'd put in for Barcelona. And let's say none of this had happened. How much are we talking, transfer value? Are we talking 100 million? I'd say we're probably not a kick in the arse away from it, right?
Yeah, when you look at Anthony at 85 million then.
Right, so this is an extremely, extremely valuable asset to the club. And do the club, rather than, Greenwood having a couple of good seasons and his price going through the roof and then United making 100 million off the back of it, or do United look at actually spending money to get rid of this guy? Like, I'm an owner of a club. I got to be honest. I speak to my sponsors. I get the general consensus behind them. Now, don't forget, I make it known this kid hasn't stood trial for anything. That there is no case to answer right now, and right now that's all we have. And if the sponsors say, well, listen, we're happy enough for things to go ahead because we feel like maybe he could be an addition to the club on the pitch, are the Glazers going to pull him off and say no? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
an
so.
interesting.
I think there's a lot of this. There's going to be a lot to run on this. I don't think this is going to be clear cut in any way. I do like the idea of what you said. Maybe he comes back to the training ground, says his piece to whoever's in the dressing room, and then heads off for a little sabbatical somewhere in Europe or somewhere in America to do some warm weather training and to get himself into the right mindset and the right physical condition that when we go on tour in the summer, he's one of the names on the list we bring, and you see how he integrates himself back into the squad and you go from there.
Yeah, be interesting to see. Ted's back in as well. Check out Retrotainment as well, of course, guys. On the Cantona thing, physical assault on a fan is 100% wrong, but fans aren't going to see it in as anywhere near as bad as what Greenwood was accused of. One, it was on a male, and two, nothing sexual involved. Yeah,
Okay,
look,
I'm going to
I
just
don't think
answer
I
that
don't
for
think you're
one.
comparing. I don't think you were comparing the two. In fairness,
No, I'm not. But
no.
But now we've brought it up. Let's compare the two of them because this is what people are going to do. So here's the first thing. There's no actual evidence to say. Now I know there's a tape. I've spoken about the tape. I believe this tape could have been manipulated in many different ways. I also believe when this tape was recorded, I would be worried about somebody recording conversations that maybe there was something at work already there. I don't record my conversations with my wife, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't record the conversations with me, because there's an element of trust there.
Yeah, you're going into that
the one
area of
thing,
You're going into that area of premeditation and all that kind of thing.
absolutely, and the thing about Cantonas is we have it on camera. He jumped across a Horden to kick a fan. We don't have any video evidence. And again, that's where I'm saying with the picture thing, because somebody stands there, with a mark on their face or with blood on their face, does that mean somebody hit someone? Absolutely not. Because if we're going to do trials like that, there's going to be a lot of innocent men locked up, and women, by the way. Because sometimes things aren't always as they seem. Just before we go on, Niall, because we've obviously spoken about this for quite some time, yeah?
Yeah.
From day one, what was my take on this? Did I think he'd play again for us?
I think you did, yeah. I think you had
I
said
did.
that you wouldn't be surprised to see him back in a United jersey.
Yeah, I thought that when this kicked off, and I still think that. I still think we'll see Mason Greenwood in a Man United jersey. And people might not want to hear that, but that's the reality. I never, ever imagined, and this is from the very first day when, there was tapes released and pictures posted on Instagram. I never, ever believed that this kid wouldn't play in that jersey again. And that's what I'm sticking to for now.
Ian back in the comments, I've forgotten all about that flying kick back in the day. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then Morris Partey, we all know, was in a similar situation this year.
Yeah. I spoke to someone, not on the, and also Basuma, but he got cleared. That's right. And I spoke to someone earlier, our friend David, who's in the chat, David Dent, and something I tried to put forward to him was, we as football fans take a view of certain people and certain players, be it right or wrong, and we look at these guys and we say, wow, isn't that guy great? Now, we don't know, the hero worship we have as football fans, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors in the evening. So the difference between knowing and not knowing is a premeditated tape, possibly, right? Because maybe this goes on in 10 or 12 households of Premier League players of an evening, and we don't know about it. And because it's never been brought to light and somebody was able to keep it on their wraps, because PR agencies are kept in lieu just for this kind of thing. Now, if that girl doesn't put this tape up, we never hear of this. This is shut down immediately. Stuff like this has been shut down in the past, which we all know. And it never comes out and it never affects a guy's career. So the fact that somebody went to the trouble of putting it out there would tell me something about the situation in itself. Maybe it's just me. Like, the fact that somebody went to the trouble of recording this and saying, I'm putting this out there because I know this will hurt you. I find that strange, you know? And some people won't. They'll say, oh, no. Well, that's what you do. I find that strange. I got to be honest.
Yeah, Ted in. Bit of conspiracy hat time here, lads. But question for you. The announcement made just after the transfer deadline ends. Did the club push for it to be then so they had time to make a decision?
Don't think it makes any odds, really, does it? Because in a sense, if we allow him to leave, he's free anyway, so we can sign where he wants.
Yeah,
and if we keep him, we keep him. If the contract is terminated, he probably goes to Nottingham Forest, let's be honest, like, because they've bought everyone else in the fucking league.
Sean Dyche at Everton.
You know what? Do you know what? And it's funny you should mention Sean Dyche at Everton. I did envisage something earlier on, because obviously there's no loan deals can happen now because the window was being closed. But I did wonder if there could be some sort of agreement made. So let's just imagine. Now, we're going to have to really imagine here. Let's just imagine there was an agreement between United and Greenwood to terminate his contract. And he went to Everton, and Everton said, we'll give you a deal till the end of the season to prove you're still able to play football and your head's in the right place and you're physically fit and blah, blah. And let's say he got back in, scored a few goals, the word was rosy. United saw how his reception was. He's now a god up at Everton because he's kept them up in the league. And his deal ends at Goodison. Does he toddle on back down the road to Manchester and sign a new deal where fans have now forgotten about it because he's been somewhere else and he's done something else? And because don't forget, and nobody knows this more than I do, but today's newspaper is tomorrow's chip paper.
Yeah, so, I suppose the worrying thing for any club would be the initial reception, wouldn't it? And how
absolutely, but if you don't have to have that in immediate reception, and if you're in Everton and you know your fans really aren't too worried about what that initial reception is like, because all really Everton fans want to make sure is that they do not go out of this league. We're in a position where, as United at the minute, we're in a good position, so we can be choosy over who plays for us and we can take the moral high ground, whereas Everton probably can't. You know, if they thought they could dig Hitler up and he'd keep nets for a few weeks and do a really good job, they would. Do you know what I mean? Because teams will do anything they can to stay in the league. We've seen the type of spending from the teams in the bottom half of the league in the relegation so far. Teams are way overspending on the basis that they're going to stay in the league. There's a few teams, Southampton, Bournemouth, teams like that. If they don't stay in the league this year, that parachute payment's going to hit them really hard next year. So,
yeah, interesting one. Yeah, Acers mentions City's Mendy there as well, and I have to preface that by saying 6 of those allegations
charges are still live.
No, 6 are out and 2 are still live.
2, I thought it was more than 2, but there's a few still live anyway.
2 are still live, and to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they're thrown out as well, but we shall see. Ted's back in. No proof you're 100% right on that, Dazzler, but I'm just saying that the general public and its backlash doesn't work like that, sadly. Yeah, no, well, look, not everyone's going to view this the same way, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Ian's back in as well. Humans make mistakes. Should there be a route back if that is the case? I understand some cases are worse than others. I suppose the difficulty in the route back, I mean, I suppose there should be when these things unfold. But I suppose the difficulty when you're that high profile and that out there, and as you said, Darren, the way things were released and came out in the public and stuff like that, just made it a little bit difficult to kind of manage one way or the other, really, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ian, but I find people take moral high grounds to suit their narrative too, but maybe try help the situation rather than going back to the Salem with trials. Yeah.
Which trials?
Yeah, which trials? Yeah, sorry.
I know that's what he misspelled it, but I knew that's what he meant.
Yeah, shout out to everyone on the chat. Yeah, absolutely. And Ted's back in again. I think the two of them are reportedly back together again, so that says a lot.
Absolutely. Jesus. Now listen, yeah, that's something I heard today as well, is that they're both back together. And I suppose, again, we're surmising, we're making assumptions. I made another assumption today. There was a lot of talk around when this happened that apparently Greenwood was trying to get away from her, and that a lot of this was, her seeing her meal ticket leaving the building, and she said, "Well, you ain't gonna fucking leave the building without me, and I'm gonna dangle this over you until you do what I want, which is you hang around here, and I keep what I keep, and that's how it goes." Is this a marriage of convenience? Quite possibly. Does it work for him? Does he end up coming out with his football career again? Does she get to have the wealth and the trappings that she thought she was always going to hang on to? Quite possibly. There's so many ways to look at this, and I suppose the thing we have to say is everything we're talking about is fantasy land, because we just don't know. And for me, if there's any sign, and I said this earlier on again to someone else, and I was talking about this, do I want to see an innocent man? What's worse, an innocent man in jail or a guilty man outside? So for me, what's worse is an innocent man being locked up. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I suppose when you look at it and the way that it unfolds, and if they're back together and stuff like that, and we've often spoken as well about what about the ramifications on the other side? We've had a year here now of an investigation, court time, bail hearings, all this kind of stuff. And if this is, and I'm not saying it is, I'm just putting it out there for conversation. But if this comes out that it was kind of a little bit contrived and stuff like that, is there something to be answerable there on the other side, maybe? You know what I mean?
Well, there would if they weren't currently in a relationship, maybe. But I think that's something that for now will have been put to bed, because I don't believe, again, me personally, maybe people are going to say, I don't believe that this is anything other than a marriage of convenience, these two being back together again. I think it suits him, it suits her, and it gives everybody what they want, which is, she's looking for a few pounds in her pocket and to be looked after, and he wants his football career back and the opportunity to go and play for his boyhood club, his country, things like that, and have a career and do well for himself and his family. And that's,
Yeah. Acers, United got envelope wedge full of £50 notes. Gigs will get off again. I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. And Cheapy, very good discussion, fellas. Yeah, cheers for that. Yeah, we're just putting it out there. We're not necessarily nailing, our hat on any cross here or anything like that. Obviously something has gone on or something has happened. Who was responsible for it? Who was involved? We kind of really don't know. We don't have any information.
I suppose that the one other thing I would like to mention here, not I should, I would like to mention here is these are two kids. Now, I mean kids, like these are immature kids doing stupid things. And we all did stupid things when we were kids. Now, the difference is somebody wasn't standing there to record us do stupid things when we were kids, So there's a lot of this that will have gone on behind the scenes and would have been accountable as quite normal in two kids of that age and with that level of immaturity and stuff in a relationship. And I'm not saying that's right, by the way. And I'm not trying to give anyone a platform for any sort of violence or any kind of thing like that. But they are two kids, and they've possibly both made horrific mistakes in this relationship. And the only difference is they've played it out in public.
Yeah. Ted back in. I get love makes people do stupid things, but just all seems a little strange to me. It does. Yeah. It seems strange to the two of us as well. It's not by any stretch. And Ian coming back in, I've always said those who accuse someone of crime falsely should get the same punishment of the alleged crime.
Maybe two people that agree with you.
Yeah, I would say not necessarily the same punishment, but certainly there should be some accountability and ramification for what goes on.
Well, I'll agree with you wholeheartedly. And if you accuse me of rape and it's 7 to 12, and you've accused me in the wrong, and you put me in a box, and you put me in front of people, and you've taken things from me, my family, my career, my livelihood, and you've done that falsely and knowingly and willingly, well, then you should go for 7 to 12 in a fucking heartbeat. So, Ian,
Yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, because if you're
Yeah.
willing to destroy someone's life, you need to understand the ramifications that if you're lying, it's your own life that's going to get destroyed.
Morris is in. I hope they get married that Shelby is the celebrant.
I could see him a little Hawaiian short, maybe one of them little poxy earrings that Marcus Rashford now wears, a
Or
pair
the
of
long
flip
one,
flops and
with the
something
cross
else.
like Shawn Michaels
The
with the
long
feather.
one with the cross like Shawn Michaels circa 1994. Just embarrassing, isn't it? My God.
Yeah.
Somebody have a chat with that boy, will you? He can score all the goals he wants, but he ain't scoring anything else if he keeps wearing that fucking earring.
Yeah. Ian's definitely agreeing, John, that point, of course.
Yeah, 100%.
That's need to be in a cage, absolutely. And we're going to round out the show with this comment. Has this show become Jeremy Coyle? So we've gone from Gordon Ramsay to football to Jeremy Coyle, all in the one show, Dazzler. We're out doing ourselves tonight, haven't we?
Masters of all, or jack of all trade, masters of none.
Sort of none, yeah. Have to lighten it up a little. Yeah, absolutely, Morris.
We're going in on beat the bookie now, Niall, right?
Meisters, it would have been quicker to hire a hitman. Yes, we are going into beat the book. Actually, I was nearly forgetting about it.
Yeah, I knew you were, but I've got the good bets here for everybody, Niall, so I can't let you forget it.
No problem at all. Right, fire away there. Give us your bets. I've got 3 anyway, and then I'll give you.
And you know what? I've got 3 myself. I even did 3 for you tonight, Niall. So it's a straight accumulator. I've gone for Arsenal, Aston Villa, Brentford, Leeds, and Newcastle in alphabetical order.
Okay.
And that pays 22 to 1.
22.
Arsenal away at Everton, Villa at home against Leicester, Brentford home Southampton, Newcastle home against West Ham, and Leeds away at Nottingham Forest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My second bet, and we're going up in price as we go now. I've done it that way as well. Really, done myself this week. I am going for is my friend Ian Kelly in the chat here. Ian's going to like part of this bet. Ian is going to like part of this. And you know what? If my friend Kyle Gunnar Walsh is in here, Kyle is going to like part of this bet as well. This is an anytime goal scorer bet, and it pays. We were 22s at the first one. The next one is 36 to 1. Yeah. I have gone for Marcus Rashford, home against Palace. Ivan Toney, home against Southampton. I've gone for Eddie Nketiah, away against Everton. And I'm rounding it out with a lad who was very, very impressed with his debut, which is Mikhailo Mudryk. And that's at home for Chelsea against Fulham. That is 36 to 1. And I think that's a smashing bet now.
Excellent.
And I will, don't step on my toes now, Niall. I will round out here, yeah? I've gone from 22s, I've hit the 36s, so I've gone 22s to 36s, 14. I'll give you another 14, right? And I'll hit you a 50. So 50 to 1. Aston Villa, I'm about to score against Leicester. Chelsea, I'm about to score against Fulham. And Newcastle, I'm about to score against West Ham. 50 to 1. 3 home teams, 2 leaky defences, and Newcastle just to concede 1 late on against West Ham and give us all a nice payday over the weekend.
Nice. Well done. Thank you very
much.
I've got 3. Thank you very much, people. I've got 3 there, so I went with a little London treble. Not a great price, I have to say. You won't want any part of this, but Chelsea in there for Reno.
You know my thought on this. Is it less than 10 to 1, Niall?
It's well less than 10 to 1. I'm just
Jesus
saying.
Christ, what am I wasting my money here
for?
But
it does get better. London treble I did. So I did Chelsea, Arsenal, and Brentford all to win. Pays 4 to 1. Not a great price for 3 teams, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I did
4 to 1. I'll keep me money and go to work for the hour. It's handier. Fuck that.
Well, my next one is a decent price. I did an anytime goal scorer, and not far off what you did, but I did instead of Mudryk, I did Kai Havertz. I did Darwin Núñez because I mean I can't go against him. I had him in me pick in the preview. Marcus Rashford, and Ivan Toney, 26-1.
So you two are the same as me, and you'd one from another team, from one of the teams. So we're not miles away.
No, and then I did your favourite bet to round it out. Both teams to score and result.
Yes.
And I did Chelsea.
Lovely.
I did Liverpool. And I did
Big
Brentford.
One.
Brentford.
Has to be 40s now.
46-1.
There you go.
Not too bad. So I rounded out.
There you go, man.
It got better as it went along. But yeah, not too bad. So a couple of interesting ones in there. I do like doing the goal scorer ones. Ian, give me the lottery numbers, Daz. It seems you can see into the future.
Will I tell them my lotto numbers, and will I tell them how to do them?
Go on.
So what I do, I do this bet once a week, but it covers me for about Euro Millions draws. So you pick 3 numbers of your choosing. My own are 1, 16 and 20. And if you do €5 on each of the 2 draws on a Tuesday and €5 on each of the 2 draws on a Friday, that covers you for 4 draws. And if your 3 numbers come out, you get $7,500. And it costs you 20 quid for the bet. It's a great bet.
Yeah, I think the Euro Millions draw tomorrow night as well. They're going to do 100 millionaires, aren't they, or something like that? They were saying.
Oh, so God!
Definitely worth doing or something like that. So if I do win it,
I could nearly buy Liverpool out, wouldn't I?
We'll hook up Morris with his Leeds ticket. 100 million now wouldn't even get your player these days. We couldn't have even signed Enzo Fernandez by winning that.
Yeah, but you just get yourself a Jack Grealish if you really wanted one.
You'd probably get a couple of them now at this stage.
And you know what? I was going to say, at this rate, you'd have got a fucking full midfield. 12 million for Jorginho. Could have got you Sabitzer on loan for a meager fee. And we could have thrown in someone else there into the mix and really.
Maybe a Kone or an Onahi or something like that. They'd
you know what I mean?
Cheap,
Telling you.
Yeah, could have revitalised the whole squad. Morris has gone with Arsenal, Villa, Brighton, Sheffield United, and Burnley. You'll appreciate that. Darren, 16-1, not too bad.
Yeah.
And Acers is in. Pep Linders was spotted in Madrid tonight doing a scout for Liverpool Champions League game coming up. He's wasting his time. Probably looking to write another book, maybe. But that's it. Another show in the bag. It was fairly action-packed in the bank. Until next time, my friend, it was a pleasure. Everyone in the chat, if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it, and hit that bell notification. I will be back on Saturday afternoon with a match reaction and player ratings.
And let us know what you want us to do next. Do you want to see the two of us driving around a car in Dublin eating curry? Do you want to see us going down to the dole queues and talking to the unmarried mothers? What do you want us to do? Do you want us covering the marches on the asylum seekers? What would you like to see us do?
I'm certainly not covering those marches. And your Jeep wouldn't come out there fairly healthy in those situations. But we'll do something. Let us know.
It's like myself, Niall. It's built for comfort, not speed.
Absolutely. We are open to requests. You'll find us at Patreon. But until next time, I'll be back chatting with you on Saturday, as I said, with a match reaction and player ratings. Hoping for a big win, but we'll see how it goes. Until next time, folks, an absolute pleasure having you on. Apparently, go to the Crumlin Road. There you go. What's Morris saying? Where is Morris gone?
Where is he gone?
Do hot ones together.
Hot ones? What's hot ones? Does he mean hot wings?
Yeah, he probably, I presume so. I'm
making the assumption you mean hot wings, Morris.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's so special about it, but I've seen a video of some lad insisting on going there.
It's like Benidorm. You have to get there to understand it.
Absolutely. Well, until next time, folks, an absolute pleasure. If you want to contact the show, supertierpodcast@gmail. Yeah, the Wings Show. Yeah, the Wings Show. That's what Morris is saying. The Wings Show. So if you want to contact us, the uppertierpodcast@gmail.com.
If you had to go to any one place in Dublin for wings, where would you go?
Where was the place I seen? I seen a place today somewhere. Bersky or something like that, or what is it, Bersky or something like that, and the
Not
food
sure.
looks sensational. Some of those food trucks at the moment look absolutely sensational as well around the city,
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
outskirts and the suburbs as well look like really nice stuff as well. Sinnets or Chang's definitely not.
Chang's.
No, average at best.
Sinnets on the
Sinnets are the
Woolshed.
Woolshed, always Sinnets. Lovely,
Big
lovely,
shout
lovely
out.
fella.
Big shout out to my own two go-to places for wings, which is the Elephant and Castle in Temple Bar. Wow. Just wow.
Morris says,
And
or ones I'll watch both stream on RedTube.
and then Tribeca over in Rathmines. Wow.
Ted
The
Brewdog.
Brewdog. Is that it over at the IFSC, is it? I think it is.
Sure.
I think that's the
Maybe
one. Not the IFSC. The Royal Canal. You know, I know where you're talking about. Yeah.
Sponsorship incoming.
Here you go. 2 fat blokes and a load of chicken wings. Sounds like fucking heaven to me.
Do a live show from the George.
The only way we'll do it is if they allow us do it in the bingo on a Sunday night, because I tell you what, you will not have a night out like the George on a Sunday evening for a game of bingo with the lads. Fucking great crack.
I thought you were about to say The Only Way Is Up. Remember that song? just outside Connolly Station. Yeah, you're not far off it,
Yeah.
Good one, yeah. We enjoy your recommendations. Until next time, folks, we will be back Monday with the Monday mashup, and of course, we'll do a review of all the weekend's action, and we will
Niall,
talk to you again real soon.
I'll be here on the mashup. It's a bank holiday.
Oh yeah, bank holiday weekend, yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So you're getting double the Dazzler in a week. The double Ds.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Cheers, pal.
Thanks, buddy.